Steve Palazzolo, Sam Monson, PFF NFL show, talking a little bit about the Browns' offensive line, what they should do.
Jedric Wills has not developed as a former first-round left tackle. That's been the one weakness.
I would immediately
on their line.
Dawand Jones should be starting for them, whether it's right or left tackle. They need to find a way of getting him in the starting lineup, and if that's benching and or getting rid of Jedric Wills, cool.
The problem is Jack Conklin and Dawand Jones have both been right tackles over the last several years.
And Conklin is probably on his last year there, so you know.
But the chat's asking about trading Conklin. It's not the best move from a cap standpoint yet, but again, if you're trying to think about next year's cap situation and everything, it might be in play, especially if you have Dawand Jones who could step in.
Yeah, it would just, given what we saw from Dawand Jones, it would be brutal to waste a year of his putting him back on the bench just because, you know, Jack Conklin comes back and you can't get rid of him yet.
Quincy, the other thing is, you know, they mentioned neither one of them played left tackle. Remember, Jedric Wills was a right tackle in college as well. He moved to left tackle.
Yeah, Jedric Wills was a blindside protector, though. Like that's another big distinction in there, right? When you look at these guys, he was a blindside protector for Tua. So even at right tackle, some of that technique is going to be a little bit different than what a regular right tackle would do when you can assume that there's going to be some level of eyesight, right? You're going to be told to make guys run the arc more. You're going to be told the importance of not getting beat inside. Like, it's just a little bit different there with his right tackle experience and why it was more applicable to flip him to the left side when he got to the NFL, assuming that you had a right-handed quarterback. But yeah, the Browns are in an interesting spot. They have two all-rookie tackle and an all-pro tackle on the right side. And then they have a question mark with Jed Wills at the left side. And you could trade Jed. There's a question of, like, is there going to be enough interest in Jed to be able to trade him and all of that other stuff? But they do need to figure out something. I think that's going to be one of the most intriguing things to figure out all summer. And it's basically a good problem because you got lucky in the draft and got a really good right tackle, but he was so good so early that it kind of blew up your plans, and you don't have that contract with Jack Conklin in a way to get rid of right now. And you couldn't anticipate that 32 teams will let Dawand Jones pass by 3 times when you gave Jack Conklin that extension. So it's like, oh, well, you know, I guess we got to figure it out.
The other thing is maybe Andy Dickerson can come in and it'll be a different offensive line coach. And, you know, again, Bill Callahan's arguably one of the best of all time. But maybe a different voice helps Jed Wills figure something out.
Yeah, even great coaches don't get through to everybody, right? Like, that's fair. Like, the best coaches of all time sometimes struggle to get through to certain types of things because it might be a pet peeve or a blind spot of theirs. So maybe that's something that could happen for Jed Wills. You know, and also you got to ask yourself, how feasible is it for Dawand Jones to flip and play the left side? I know people are going to tell me he played the left side during the pandemic season at Ohio State. But playing football during the pandemic season of college football, remember, like, what, 12 teams playing? And maybe, like, half of those teams had their players actually playing during those games. Like, that's very different than going up against these dudes in the AFC North, right? Going up against Trey Hendrickson, going up against Kyle Hamilton when he lines up on that left side for Baltimore as a special blitzer, and going up against Alex Highsmith, who's proven to be dangerous at that spot. It's a little bit of a different game there. So, and you also got to ask the question, okay, yeah, you do flip Dawand to left. The bigger question to me is, okay, let's say Dawand works out. He works out at left. Do you trust Jack Conklin to stay healthy? And if you don't trust Jack Conklin to stay healthy, what do you have behind him? And do you just end up in a situation where you end up spending the money you would save trading Jed Wills to make sure that you don't get a disaster situation if the very likely scenario pops up that Jack Conklin does not stay healthy?
Well, here's the other thing, though. You have a quarterback who's coming off of a significant shoulder injury and a significant throwing injury to his rotator cuff. You better protect his blind side. you've got a $230 million guaranteed invested in that guy, and you better block for him.
And there's a serious question of, hey, if Dawand Jones was that good at right tackle, could he be an upgrade at left tackle? Like, that's the upside of this all. Because if you move Jed and you do those stuff, it's because you're betting on the upside of Dawand Jones being able to play that left side just as good as he played the right side. Because he destroyed TJ Watt when he played on that right side. And if we could have that on Deshaun's blind side with the athletic ability that Dawand has, oh wow, you can see why people would get excited about this. But it's a real question of if a dude that big, that used to playing the right side, can flip to the left side, especially after he's come back from injury.